Oh boy, guys, we need to talk about one Fani Willis. This woman, in my opinion, is completely corrupt. Now, we got some new bombshell stuff that just dropped. You're going to be astonished by this, guys, because apparently there was a whistleblower that was actually working for one Fani Willis, and this whistleblower got fired. She actually went directly to Fani Willis and actually was complaining about someone also working with Fani Willis that was misusing funds. Yes, I believe this was actually federal grant money, and this person wanted to use the funds like on computers, lavish vacations, stuff like that. Where have we heard this from before, guys? Now you guys know that Fani Willis is in a whole bunch of hot water right now because she used taxpayer funds allegedly on Nathan Wade, the prosecutor that she actually hired to go after Donald Trump. But we got the evidence on this too, guys. Nathan Wade was actually using that money to go on trips with Fani Willis because they're dating each other. Yeah, he is blowing her out, to keep it lightly, okay? Man, Democrat corruption, man, has been on full display. We talked about Cori Bush the other day, man. Government officials, man, there's a lot of corruption in the government, man. We talked about Joe Biden, man. He's definitely a weaponized DOJ. But this Fani Willis thing, this thing is probably going to blow up in her face. I don't think that Trump should actually even go to trial. Everything should be thrown out against him. The only thing he did was challenge an election. That's pretty much it. But Fani Willis went after him on RICO charges, like he's a part of the mob. Man, Brian Kemp, man, looks more like a moron day by day. Now, the Republicans in Georgia have launched an investigation into Fani Willis, and the citizens of Fulton County, they are furious. The people in Fulton County, man, need to change their voting habits because if they don't, they can end up replacing, Fani Willis with somebody else that's just like her. It's kind of like Lori Lightfoot getting voted out by the people in Chicago because she was terrible as mayor. And then they actually vote for someone that's even worse in Brandon Johnson. So let's go ahead, guys, and get into this leaked audio here. Make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel, become a channel member. Memberships that start at $5 per month. Member live stream every single Friday. Click that join button. If you're watching on Rumble, click the join button there as well. Get access to the same thing. So here we go. This is the audio here from The Hill, and they're actually going to give their commentary on this. This is about an 8-minute clip. Have not watched their full commentary, so we're pretty much going into this fresh. So let's play it.
Bombshell new audio appears to show a whistleblower privately warned embattled Georgia DA Fani Willis that her top aide was abusing federal funds. Now, in the audio, Willis appears to agree with this whistleblower and say that she'd look into it. Yet a little less than 2 months later, the staffer who raised the concerns was fired. Let's take a listen to that audio.
He told everybody in front of Crystal, Deontay, everybody, we're going to get MacBooks, we're going to do that, we're going to get swag, we're going to use it for travel. I said, you cannot do that. It's a very, very specific grant. Took me off. I questioned Junior DA. There's kids in there from out of the county, all this. Took me off Junior DA. I did not want to do it. He made it look as if I wasn't doing what I needed to do because I questioned him. Because I knew for a fact Mr. Cuffey respectfully did not know what he was doing, period.
So I respect that is your assessment. It was clear to me that you and Mr. Cuffey were not getting along. And I'm not saying that your assessment is wrong. I want you to really listen to the words I'm saying.
Cuffey, and this is my personal opinion, to one woman to another, is dangerous to your administration.
Yeah, so the implication here is that this whistleblower came forward about another employee who wanted to misuse grant funds. And after coming forward in that kind of, nervous, heated, excited way that we just heard, she was the one that was ultimately fired. Now, you also did hear Fani Willis say, I know that you guys have been having trouble at work. So this is a snippet of a broader circumstance. Who knows? There's other reasons that people could be fired. Sometimes people are substantively in the right, but there are employment problems that
absolutely
outstrip the conflict at issue here. Who knows?
Absolutely. We should proceed cautiously. This whistleblower who was fired spoke to the Free Beacon, Washington Free Beacon, and provided this audio. But I have to say, what's alleged in here is extremely serious. What the whistleblower says is that this grant, and the whistleblower worked in Fani Willis's office, doing work with nonviolent juvenile offenders. This is important work. That they received a grant from the federal government earmarked for the creation of a center of youth empowerment and gang prevention. Again, that sounds like a very worthy cause for public funding. And what she says is this other employee, Michael Cuffey, wanted to use it to purchase swag, computers, and travel to misuse funds for the greater enjoyment of the office. And she went to Fani Willis and said, he can't do that. That's not what it's for. This is exactly what we want. This is what everyone wants. When there's misuse of public funding for government employees to speak up and report it and say something about it. That's what we all want. So good for her for doing that. And Fani Willis there is trying to calm her down. It's clear this was a difficult workplace, that she didn't get along with the person. Fani Willis tries to calm her down, and then we don't know what happens, but she lets her go 2 months later.
Yeah, fired 2 months later. I'm wondering why. This is not good for Fani Willis whatsoever. This looks very, very bad, especially in light of the allegations now against Fani Willis herself, because it seems like she's misusing funds too as well. I mean, maybe this was just common practice in the office, and then somebody in the office brings it up, say, hey, this is wrong. And then all of a sudden they're fired? Yeah, I got questions about that.
A very serious accusation that we would need to learn more about. Obviously, we need to hear the other side of the story. But I'm glad this person has come forward because, frankly, independent of the Trump case, it really doesn't have anything to do with the Trump case. It could speak, further to just Fani Willis's judgment. Obviously, she's involved in this other national story about whether she whether she herself misappropriated public funds by hiring her lover at the time, who's now divorcing his wife, and they are a couple, it seems to be, and then that not that hiring him was necessarily wrong, but then he took her on trips. So it's
well, if you're in a relationship with the guy, that's definitely not good, okay? Especially since he's taking that money and spending it on you. That's not good.
Direct way a kickback, and that's all coming out through this Nathan Wade, his divorce action going on.
Right. So again, the reason this is a national story at all is because there has been a political effort. That's not a value judgment. I think that's just descriptive. A political effort to undermine the Georgia case against Donald Trump by having increased scrutiny at Fani Willis, and it's dug up now both the allegation that she hired her lover, who was underqualified to do the work and overpaid to do the work in this kind of a kickback scheme, and now also that she may have retaliated against a whistleblower. Again, unsubstantiated at this point. We don't know if the other person that was whistleblown on was also fired. Maybe there was a lot of discord in the office and people had to be fired for interpersonal reasons. We really don't know. But that does seem to be the implication. But in a lot of ways, I don't know. We don't need this story to know that Fani Willis has already demonstrated bad judgment in the context of adjudicating Donald Trump's case.
If this is true, in some ways this is worse. It's very bad.
The point is that Fani Willis, even if it was just mere optics, there was an interesting write-up in Politico a few days ago written by Ankush Karadori, and they made the argument that having a relationship isn't illegal, even having a relationship with someone that you're working with, even if it's cheating, there's cheating on their spouse, none of those things are illegal, whatever you think the ethical implications of them.
Wait a minute, but if you're actually using taxpayer dollars as a kickback, then yeah, that's corrupt.
But the question is whether or not he was overpaid and whether or not he was hired when otherwise he wouldn't have been hired because it inured to the personal benefit of Fani Willis, which again I think distinguishes it from the Cori Bush case, where at least the Congressional Ethics Office looked at this and said, well, he is qualified to work security for her, and he is getting paid a standard amount, and she does have these real security needs based on the number of threats that she's getting.
But the thing is, Cori Bush's security guy, which is now a husband, didn't have a license. Yeah.
This Fani Willis stuff is different. And the case that this political argument makes is that her worst crime is basically how she's addressed it since the scandal has come out. She hasn't taken on the criticisms head on at all. She's made these vague allusions to the fact that she is being attacked for racial reasons.
Yeah, but the thing is, man, everybody that's pretty much come after Fani Willis, like Nathan Wade's wife, is black. And in this case here, the whistleblower that was in her office was black. I'm willing to bet that probably majority of her office was actually black. So I find it hard to believe there's a racial angle to this thing. Fani Willis is just playing the victim, nothing more.
And this person says, at the end of the day, you just have to address fraud accusations like this quickly and then deal with it. The case can be reassigned to a different prosecutor. There's a lot of political interests the Democrats have in resolving this and moving on. And instead of doing that, she seems to be treading water. She has to make a response filing on February 2nd, as I understand it. And, the article says, well, she's in her rights to wait until then to respond in a more fulsome manner. But in the interim, her reputation is just getting worse and worse. And she's taking down with it the integrity of this important case against Donald Trump.
And this whistleblower, I didn't use her name, but her name is Amanda Timpson. She has been named. This isn't an anonymous accusation against Fani Willis. She has come forward to present her side of the story. She gave audio to support her side of the story. Because I always caution, you can only do so much with people anonymously complaining about the environment in their work. I mean, that's true of whoever the administration is. It gets to be a little like the media loves it, like, oh, insider in X office says everything's dysfunctional, everything's bad, and this person's horrible. Okay, well, if you're not going to say it on the record, if you're not going to put your own credibility at stake, we can only do so much with it. She's come forward, which I think is important in a case like this, and we would like to hear more about the situation. And it doesn't really impact their argument against Trump, but it does look very bad.
Just get rid of her. I just can't for the life of me understand why she's not gone already, for the sake of the country. Democratic donors should be lining up to say, I'm going to give you some cushy job elsewhere if you just step down from this case.
But the Democrats, man, they're full of corruption. They are. I mean, they'll probably just replace her with somebody else that's just corrupt.
And let it proceed, because the stakes are just so much higher than you. Obviously, she has I shouldn't say that. But the implication is that, she...
I mean, I don't quite know what the precise mechanism is here. Could she recuse herself and they have appointed some other DA to handle it? Does she need to actually exit the office? I don't know.
No, I don't think she has to exit the office at all. But I think the case...
Yeah, she needs to be gone.
Can be reassigned to a new prosecutor.
It should not be handled by her at this point.
And even if it's not her, move the partner at the very least off of the case. But this is so unnecessary. Why are we holding on to these two people being involved? I just don't get it.
Fun stuff. More Rising right after this.
Okay, so you guys see that right there, man. This is not good for Fani Willis. I mean, she is getting exposed for corruption in her office. She is the elected official, and apparently there's just a whole bunch of corruption in her office. Misusing funds again? This is wild, man. This is wild. Definitely seems like Fani Willis should actually be impeached. Because this whole thing with Donald Trump, man, is political. Nothing more. Completely political. If this thing was serious, man, why didn't you actually go out and actually get a lawyer that's actually qualified? Nathan Wade, he's like a family lawyer. Like traffic tickets and stuff like that. That's pretty much it. Wow. That's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think of this? Black and White Network fans, let us know what you think about all this in the comments. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. And we'll catch you next time.